Hello and welcome back everyone, my name is Charlie St. Waffles and this is my second big Airsoft video and I'm making some changes to the format, so as always tell me what you like, what you don't like, tell me if you need a Subway Surfers video up in here to keep your attention or whatever it may be. But today I want to focus on the topic of if you just got into the sport. We did the video on, well, if you got into the sport, like things you wish you knew beforehand. So this is a video for you've gotten into the sport, you have the bare minimum, you've got your replica, you've got your BBs, you've got your Face Pro, you're ready to play. So say you've done a match, you're enjoying it, you want to do more. What is the number one first accessory that you should get once you get into Airsoft? That's what I want to talk about today. Now, usually when I do these sort of videos, I'll have like a video game playing in the background because I'm mostly a gamer, but I didn't think that was fitting here. Like, I didn't think Helldivers in the background would be all that relevant. There is an Airsoft video game that I got into, but that's a whole different thing. But if you want something more interesting in the background, do tell me in the comments down below. But let's talk about accessories. As always, thank you to the wonderful people of the Pacific Northwest, all the airsofters in the Discords that I'm in, all the airsofters in the shop, all the pros, all that, who are giving me wonderful advice, giving me topics to talk about, being involved in all this. I super appreciate your support and help, and shout out to the Willamette Valley Airsoft team as they are the biggest help to me. So what is the first accessory you should buy? I thought this would be a very, very easy topic, like a 1-minute video, off we go, because the answer should be boom, extra mags, because you always need extra mags. But it turns out it's not quite that simple. There's a lot of different things, and depending on your playstyle and where you're playing and how you're playing, there might be some different answers here. So this isn't going to be like a definitive answer where it's like, oh, this is the number one answer, do it, but rather it's just a helpful guide on a bunch of different things that I learned getting into the sport and what I would recommend based on my experiences. Your experiences may vary. I'm going to start this list off strong with this guy right here because I just got him. Oh, my hand's behind it. I'll have to fix that. But this guy right here, the Odin Speed Loader, is a total game changer. I know sometimes when people say game changer, they're kind of exaggerating, but like this literally changes the way that you play the game. It makes your reloading way faster, way easier. It can store a bunch of BB 1600 rounds in it, so if your field allows for it, you can bring it to spawn with you and you can hot reload in the middle of a match, which means you can be more aggressive. You don't necessarily need a bunch of different mags because you're able to reload on the fly, so that saves you a little bit of money having to buy a bunch of different mags. You can just reload right there. I found myself the first couple games I played, I only had 2 magazines, and so I was playing very conservative with my ammo. Once I got this, I was able to do a lot more like suppressing fire. I was able to fire a little bit more freely. It changed the way that I played the games. When I say this is a game changer, I literally mean it's a game changer. So this is high on the list of things that I recommend. It is awesome. I will side note, I'm using the Evike site just to show it off here. However, I don't necessarily recommend that. One of the things that the different people I spoke to all recommended when I first got into the hobby was, if you can, support your local shops, right? Don't give to just the big faceless multi-billion-dollar entity out here, but local small shops, local fields that support the actual gameplay. It's better to spend your money locally if possible. So if at all possible, please shop locally and support your local fields and stores if they have something like this available. The second thing on the list I'll add is a flashlight. This is a shout out to Nomad. This was his response, a great player in the Pacific Northwest. If you get a chance to know him, check out Nomad. But the flashlight. Now, you can get a mounted flashlight for your weapon, and if you're playing indoors or at night, this is especially important. I've seen a few indoor fields where it's so dark that having some sort of tracer unit or having a flashlight is a must. So this is again where your particular playstyle may be important. If you're going to play a lot indoors, you're going to play in a lot of indoor dark fields, this might be the number one accessory for you to get. But if you're going to play outdoors and during the daytime, it might not be as important. However, having a flashlight just to be able to tinker with your weapon, your replica, all that is also very important. I have met so many people who talk about the half the hobby at least is being able to tear apart your replica, change it, rebuild it, change parts, do all sorts of things with it, and you're going to need a flashlight for that. So a good recommendation coming from Nomad on if you need one tool, perhaps a flashlight should be that first one. In that same vein, and maybe I should have just combined this with the flashlight, but I'll put it separately, is a good toolkit. As I just talked about, a lot of people like to tear apart the replicas. They like to do a lot with it. So having a screwdriver to be able to hot change the spring, having oils to be able to maintain your replica, having all the different bits and bobs and pieces is super important. So if you're into the tinkering side of things, investing in a good toolkit might be your good first accessory, because you're going to need a lot of different things, different screwdrivers, different hex keys, different barrel attachments, all sorts of different things to tinker with. So if you're into the tinkering side, check out a toolkit maybe first. Now, I said I wasn't going to pick a favorite and that I wasn't going to tell you what is the best, but if you are playing outdoor, especially if it's summertime when you're watching this, this might be my #1 recommendation, and that is getting your outdoor support kit. If you're playing outdoor fields, especially for a long period of time, a lot of matches start like around 10 or 11 and go until 4 or 5, it is absolutely critical that you invest in a good, what I call field support kit. So electrolyte drinks, #1 thing, you're going to be sweating, you're going to be running, you need water and electrolyte drinks. Replenish that, stay safe out there. You don't want to pass out, you don't want to get heat stroke, you don't want to get that. So things like sunscreen, bring the sunscreen, please. A change of socks. I know it sounds weird, but I've actually heard LARPers talk about getting trench foot from being out in the field too long, getting wet feet. So socks, sunscreen, water, electrolyte drinks, things to do. Sometimes there's a downtime and just having something to do, reading a book, having a good support kit that you spend $50, $100 on, and like a Costco tote is going to be invaluable to you. Have some bandages in there, wet wipes, deodorant. Make yourself more comfortable and the game will be 100 times more enjoyable. This isn't as applicable if you're playing indoors, because a lot of times it's shorter periods of time. You're not going to be sweating as much, but if you're outdoors, please consider this your first accessory is a good support kit. Again, maybe this one belonged in the previous category, but this was another separate recommendation to me, was your footwear. Highly recommend this. If you're not investing in the sunscreen and the electrolyte drinks first, invest in the footwear. Again, especially if you're outdoors, having something to keep your feet dry and safe and protect your ankles is going to be super important, especially if it's outdoor play. I talked about going to Coyote Ridge, one of my favorite fields to play on. It is a huge hill with lots of twigs, lots of dirt, lots of loose ground, lots of verticality, and all of that can lead to sprained ankles, hurt ankles. It can lead to a lot of problems, so keeping your feet dry, safe, and protected is a must. We talk a lot about safety, we talk about the eye protection. Feet protection is just as important. I learned this one the hard way. You might need a second battery. I was out with my replica at Coyote Ridge, and about halfway through my games, I started pulling the trigger and it was just giving me this beeping error, and I'd never had that before. I was like, I broke my gun, it's my second game, what did I do? Turns out I'd just been getting a little too excited, pressing the trigger too many times on my replica, and I charged out of the battery way too fast. So you might need a second battery and a way to charge it. Talking about your support kit earlier, a power bank, being able to charge your cell phone, charge your replica, charge other people's stuff, that will make you very popular. So consider that as a first accessory, as an extra battery and a way to charge said battery and other people's batteries, cell phones, all those knickknacks and all that. You'll be very popular if you bring that. Now, I can't take credit for this one, even though this was technically the first accessory I purchased when I got into Airsoft, and it was a brilliant suggestion, so shout out to Spartan117 for this one. As far as gear goes, gloves, getting shot in the finger, I have heard, it has not happened to me yet, but I have heard that getting shot in the finger is one of the absolute worst experiences in all of Airsoft. So investing in a good pair of gloves to keep your fingers dry and safe and usable, that might be my S tier pick. That might be my new pick that one. Pick a pair of gloves. You can get a good pair of gloves for like $10. It spares your fingers. It is a must-have, quintessential accessory. So again, shout out to Spartan. That was a great suggestion. I totally forgot about that, but it is indeed a finger saver. Invest in it. This is going to be a lower tier suggestion in the idea of it's not like a top priority from the standpoint of it's not like super game changing, but as far as like fun, we're all here to have fun, right? The whole point of Airsoft is to have fun. So I think fun gets overlooked sometimes. So this accessory is more for fun, and that is things like patches, things like your own armbands for teams, your own morale boosters, things that make the game a little bit more fun. It doesn't change it, but like having my own armband so I can select the color for my team and I can wear it and I know it's comfortable rather than putting tape around my arm or whatever the field has. Sometimes they use like ribbon. Having my own just patch that I always have, I like that. Having your own drip and aura, like having these patches up here, I like that. So while it might not be like the biggest game changer, like gameplay wise, like having the Odin speed loader, this here might be a way to have fun. And if that gives you more fun and makes you play more, then that's what matters the most, right? A little earlier, we did talk about magazines and how the speed loader changed the way I played. I have gotten a lot of recommendations for a first accessory. You need more mags. You're always going to use more mags. Mags are going to fail on you. You should always have backups. You should always have spares. If you're going to get some, I've heard that these are the gold standard, the Ferrari, the EPM1 mid caps. They hold 250 BBs, which is larger than a lot of like standard ones as far as I understand, but they're not the high caps that have like the little twirly thing at the bottom. I cannot stand that. I gotta say, I know it's a preference. As someone who's got into it and tried both, I cannot stand high capacity magazines. I hate twirling the little things. So mid caps for life for me, and apparently I need to get me some of these myself because these mid caps are the Ferrari of being able to carry new magazines. So consider for your first accessory more magazines. Never hurts to have. You will end up using them, and apparently this is the way to go. This one is going to sound like an ad, and I promise you it is not an ad, but it is worth your consideration. If there are events near you, there are a lot of events in the Airsoft community. You can go play at fields, but sometimes there are special bigger events with like a lot of people. There's sometimes camping and other things like that. Consider investing. It's not technically an accessory, but going to your first event, it changes the way you're going to view and play Airsoft. I am totally addicted to events. I want the big, large scale warfare. I want to experience all the people, the camaraderie, and the fun of it. It's a way different experience than just sitting like indoors or things like that. So consider, if you haven't already, maybe your first $50 goes towards some sort of special event going on. Again, I'm going to shout out to Willamette Valley Airsoft. They have been so wonderful to me. They have Operation Smoke and Mirrors coming up. If you're in the Pacific Northwest, I will be there taking photos. If you want professional photos taken of you, I will be there as well. I promise this is not an ad. I'm just saying this is going to be an awesome event. I'm going to be there, so consider that as a accessory, maybe? All right, this is probably going to be the last one. This is another A-tier game-changing, and that is some sort of plate carrier or chest rig. It is going to literally change the way you play the game because you're going to be able to have your different mags loaded onto you so you can have more ammo, more ways to play, having mag dumps, more pockets, more space for all your gear. As you accumulate gear, you're going to want to carry it to you on the battlefield, and having this will give you a good base for be able to expand onto it. So again, I am a new person, so I cannot stress this enough. I don't know everything. If I'm wrong about anything, put it in the comments down below, correct me, talk about it, engage in the community, please. But if you get yourself a plate carrier or chest rig with the Molly system that lets you loop in other things, it is infinitely expandable, and that is a good first investment. Your good first accessory would be something that, one, protects you so you don't get as many bruises and welts, but also gives you more options to carry things out onto the field, more ways to change your gameplay, and again, because of the Molly system, it's infinitely changeable if you want to be able to access different things or change up the way you play or use different replicas. This is going to be the good entry level into it. Again, I never wanted to come here and tell you this is the #1 thing you should buy, but hopefully this list has given you a good idea of some first-time accessories you should invest in and some ways to put your money into the sport and hobby. Again, if you're outside, I do have a #1 recommendation. That's water, hydration, safety. I am a huge safety person, so please invest in your eye protection. Please invest in your boots. Please invest in your well-being through water, electrolytes, and all of that. But there's a bunch of other things on this list, again, that are maybe higher tier priority or lower tier priority, but are all engaging and helpful for the hobby. So, and one last time, I am new, so I don't know everything. Please correct me in the comments down below, or if you have something that I didn't bring up that you think would be very helpful to people, let us know. There's a bunch of people out there who have way more experience than me, who know way more than me, and one of the things I honestly love about this community, especially the Pacific Northwest so far, is how engaging it's been, how much people are willing to take new people under the wing and talk to them and help them and bring them into the community. So I would like to be a part of that, and I'd like to share that. So please, as a community, come in here and share your tips and tricks and all that. And as always, thank you for watching and have a blessed day.